you are an agent and you're calling on automobiles, or you're calling automobile plants, or not plants, but automobile suppliers, whether it's transmissions, whether it's collision repair, where it's tires, whether you're calling on doctor offices, whatever that invoice is, we will qualify that particular merchant between the average ticket between $100 and, let's say, $5,000. Now, many of our clients do qualify for above $5,000, but for the most part, if you are sending in an application, you're going to want to concentrate on that $100 to, say, $5,000. Most of these merchants are merchants that need our help. This is not a product that we're doing pie in the sky. Many of these merchants are seeing people walk out the door because they can't afford to have, these particular customers are walking out the door, A, because maybe they don't qualify for credit, maybe they don't have a credit card, maybe there was a death in the family, maybe they lost their job, maybe they're on unemployment, disability, assistance of some kind, and they're not able to make those purchases. We make that money available to those customers. Keep in mind, 46% of adult Americans out there will not qualify for, 46% won't qualify for a credit card, don't have $1,000, to their name in a do or die situation. They couldn't come up with $1,000. That's it's a $6.4 million $6.4 billion market out there. So why not allow these merchants to tap into it? Because of that 46% of adult Americans out there, there are a lot of those individuals that have good jobs. Maybe they've gone through some tough times and behind in their bills, or their credit has been sacked. There are a lot of people out there. This economy, although they may say it's starting to turn, I think on Main Street there are a lot of suffering people out there, and that's what this program is designed to do. It's designed to help those who can't come up with that money. Or maybe, here we are again, the end of the month coming up. You've got rent, you've got your heat, electricity, you've got your cell phone bill. Maybe you want to make this purchase, but you can't afford to because you have to, make all these other commitments, or pay for all these other commitments, and you don't want to deplete your bank account. This is going to allow you to spread those payments out over 12 months and maybe make those purchases. And when we talk about, like, let's just say car repair, a lot of the car repair out there is not just, damage to to those particular individuals. These are real individuals that may lose their employment. They may lose their jobs because they're not able to get to work. So that's what this program is specifically designed for. Those transmission shops, those, heating and air conditioning, you can't get your heat on. Veterinarians, I have a sick pet. Who wants to be able to go home and say that the family pet, we couldn't help the family pet because we weren't able to afford it? These are the types of individuals. Those are stories that we hear about every single day in our business, and those are the individuals that we are able to help. So just kind of wrapping it up here is that if you are a dentist, we'll use that famous dental example, and you have someone in your chair that needs a $1,000 emergency situation or crown put on, and that person doesn't qualify for Care Credit, doesn't qualify for any other financing. Now, and keep in mind, a side note here is all those credit-based programs typically take 10% of the value of the loan. So if it's $1,000, the doctor is only going to get $900. The Platinum One program, they're going to get 100% of that money. If that fee is $1,000, they're going to get $1,000. With Care Credit, it's going to be $900. Now multiply that times 100 patients over the course of the year. How much money are those doctors just throwing away because they go to Care Credit, and Care Credit only approves about 30% of the customers? We are 2.5 times that. So not only are we cheaper, we guarantee that money's up front. We could give them 100% of their money. We're going to keep those patients happy. And it's a wonderful product. It's a wonderful concept, and the program has worked for us over the last going on 8 years now. 7 years. Going on the last 7 years, where we have thousands of clients. And of those thousands of clients that are using the program, we return an investment between $30,000 and $50,000 on average. Some are, a lot more, some are a lot less, but on average, if you were to do a cross-section of the merchants that are using our program, their return investment is typically $30,000 to $50,000 of additional income. And that's $30,000 to $50,000 that they would never have. These are people that would have walked out the door if they didn't have our product. These are people that would be unable to qualify for that Care Credit, GE, Wells Fargo, Peachtree, Car Credit, any of those credit-based programs. That's money that those merchants would never have seen if they didn't have our program. So when we talk about the beauty of this program, we talk about the 3 crown jewels, as I talk about. We talk about, number one, we're helping out the community. Those who can't afford to purchase because their credit is bad, we're going to give that the opportunity. It's a great way to help out the community. Number two, we're going to help out those merchants. Many of these merchants may not be in business next year, but if you get our program in there, that $30,000 to $50,000 may be the difference of keeping their doors open and closing their doors. And number three, we're helping out the third jewel in this crown jewel. We're going to help out you, the agents. We're going to pay you an awful lot of money to basically fill out an application with the merchant. You don't have to worry about installation. You don't have to worry about being mechanically. All you have to do is be able to fill out an application, and you're going to get paid a lot of money. And we appreciate the fact that the hard work that you agents do out there, it's not easy to be able to start a relationship or start a conversation with somebody. Problem solvers, and that's what we're doing. We're solving problems with merchants who are having people that are turned away at the point of purchase because they don't have the credit available, cash available, or simply don't want to deplete their bank accounts. So we are going to compensate you for that. We're going to pay you very well, and we're going to pay you very quick, ACH, or in some cases, if you really need the money, we'll wire it that day. So this is the beauty of the Platinum One program. All right. Before we go any further, let's just go through real quickly. If you don't have your marketing agreement signed with your commission schedule signed, you won't be able to get into the back office of the Platinum One Resource Center. And the Platinum One Resource Center basically has 2 columns. We have brochures and marketing information, return of investment calculators. On one side, we have the presentation, which we'll go through here very quickly. We've got applications, other materials, training notes, sample materials, how it works, sample letterhead, overcoming objections, what the security agreement looks like. And there's even a small video here. And the video that you see on there, it does show that you have multiple checks. We're only looking for 1 check. And in our standard plan, you don't even need a check. It does work in the form of a debit type transaction. If a client does not have a check with them, our standard plan will allow them. But the video that's on here basically just shows you the kind of the very simple way the program works, but it is 1 single check, and we do have the ability to do it without a check also. All right, so let's just go through the Platinum One no credit required Marquee plan. Now, we do have 2 different programs. One is the Marquee plan, and one is the standard plan. I'm going to go through the Marquee plan here very quickly. The Marquee plan is our flagship program. This is the program that we started with a long time ago. We helped in the development of this program when we went from 3, 6, 9 to 12 months. We have since started the standard plan, and we'll go through them. Pay attention to the Marquee plan. It probably outsells the standard plan probably outsells the Marquee plan about probably 80% of our product line is the standard plan. But when we go through the PowerPoint, there are a lot of very similar features to the standard plan, and I'll help break those out. So what is the Platinum One Marquee program? No credit required, in-house easy payment plan. Basically, it allows, on both programs, it allows down payment checks to be converted into ACH payment schedule, ACH, automatic clearinghouse. Basically what it means is we're taking a paper check and we're converting that into an electronic version of that check. Now, there's two requirements. Once a merchant you've signed them, they're set up in the system, and they're good to go. There's two requirements between the customer and the merchant, the patient and the doctor. There's two requirements. One is they must have a valid, active checking account. Now, we break that into one long term here, but the way what that basically means is the checking account has to be open for 120 days. No bounce checks or NSF fees, no child support liens, no IRS liens. It has to be a valid, active checking account. When we say valid, we're talking about that 120-day, without a bounce check or NSF fee. But we're also looking at the fact that that account has to have have value in it, meaning that we look at that checking account and look to see if it's going to be able to support a loan. It happens very quickly. On the Marquis plan, typically it happens anywhere from 20 to 30 seconds so you can get an approval. It's a very, very slick program. It's basically designed for those that have never had financing prior to this. It's a nice program for those that just want to be able to take that check, get a yes or no approval to it, where the standard plan has some additional items that you have to do. So proof of an active checking account, and the second thing is you must have a valid driver's license. You got to prove who you say you are, and you got to be able to prove that that valid ID or military ID is who you say you are. Now, there are 4 steps between that merchant and that client. They sign a no credit required for the agreement for the product or service. The customer presents the check or bank form if they don't have a check with them. We'll provide that for them. For the product or service, the merchant gets the approval for the transaction, and then the customer's account is debited depending at the point of purchase what they decide, over 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or 12 months. Those customers' payments are guaranteed, and that's one of the things you have to really enforce to the merchant is your payments are guaranteed. So you don't have to worry about, as I mentioned before, if they've made 6 months worth of payments and it comes back NSF, that's going to be guaranteed for them. The maximum aggregate, now I say the maximum aggregate is $8,000, but typically most merchants are going to qualify between $100,000 and let's say $5,000. And again, we can go higher. We do have some plastic surgeons in the Florida and Southern California that are doing transactions over $12,000. But for the most part, you're looking at between $100 and $5,000. Maximum post-dated for the Marquis plan is 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months. There is no 9-month program on the Marquis. However, on the standard plan, there is a 9-month program. Merchant does not have to deposit a single check. It's like having a teller right in your place of business. No risk to the merchant of bad checks, because that payment you'll have that payment long before there's any issues with that checking account. Now the customer's cost. Now this is the customer. Customer pays the merchant between 9.95 and 30.95. Now you might say, hey James, 30.95, that sounds like a lot of money, but when you compare that to Care Credit, GE, all the other finance, they're 32 to 36%. So we're a non-credit-based program and our rates are cheaper. So again, we're only looking at their checking account and we have lower rates than someone that has good credit. So it is a win-win for the customer. Merchant can add an administrative fee. So what does that mean is that they can add $25 or $30 or $50 to each transaction to help offset any costs that they may have, or simply just take it as an extra profit or profit center while running you call it an app fee, call it an administrative fee. That's not charged to the client if they, it's not charged to the client if they don't qualify. We're going to provide the laser scanner, the imager, the software, and best of all, we're going to provide that guarantee. Typically on the Marquee plan, accounts can be set up typically within 7 days after application and delivery of the system. And typically, as I mentioned before, the agents are going to get paid very quickly. Agents typically will get paid anywhere from 24 to 48 hours after the system has been set up and verified. So the programs happen very quickly. The Marquee plan, I will tell you, does take a little bit longer. The Marquee plan will take up to 7 days. The standard plan will take typically will take 2 to 3 days. It's a much quicker process. The underwriting is much easier. Now, this is not designed to replace existing financing. It's designed to enhance existing financing. So if they do have Care Credit, GE, Wells Fargo, any other credit-based program, and those particular credit-based programs only have a 30 to 35% approval rating. But what's happening to those 5, 6, 7 people out of 10 that are getting turned away? This can sit right alongside. If they don't qualify for Care Credit, put them into the Platinum One. What would 3 out of every 7 or 4 out of every 7 turndowns, what would that do for your business? What would that do? Getting an additional 5 out of every 10 or 6 out of every 10 turndowns, what would that do? I tell you what it does for all those customers that are using our program. Typically, will turn another $30,000 to $50,000 of income to the Platinum One clients. It piggybacks over the existing financing. As I mentioned, it'll enhance those that other financing. It's a guaranteed layaway. You know how layaway works. You order something, you make payments on it. When you're done making payments, that item is either shipped or you can pick it up at the store. Here's a way to be able to take that item that day, get that car fixed, get the pet fixed. In the case of a funeral, pay tribute to a loved one, and be able to do that day because you got that approval and the money is on its way. Also finance soft costs. If you have soft costs, basically if you have a motorcycle that you also want to buy a leather jacket or maybe leather saddlebags or a wider seat or especially designed tires, that may not be picked up by the manufacturer, but our financing, we will be able to finance those soft costs. Let's just take a look at what it's ideal for. New automotive sales, automotive repair, wheels and tires, furniture sales, appliance sales, appliance repair, contractors, funeral homes, criminal defense attorneys, computer repair, medical services, dental services, cosmetic services, schools and churches, animal breeders, rent-to-own centers. Believe it or not, you have to have good credit to rent furniture, home restoration, and many more. Now, these are just some ideas, but when we take a look at the area that we do a lot of work in the auto sales, we don't do automotive sales as a full auto. We only do down payment assistance. I've talked to hundreds of car dealers over the years, and they absolutely love the program because if you have a $20,000 car, we'll give you up to $5,000, 25% of the value of the car. If you have a $10,000 car, we'll give you $2,500 towards the purchase of that car. It's down payment assistance. Just mention that to any used car dealer or new car dealer, and their eyes will light up because that is basically a free way to making money when you talk to a car dealer, because they're able to get people qualified, but sometimes they'll need an additional $1,500 or $2,000 to close the deal with the finance company, and this is going to allow them to close more deals, and it's also going to allow them a lot more flexibility with those finance people because they're able to come up with that money towards the purchase of that car. Some of our car dealerships are doing as many as 10 to 15 additional deals each month because they have our program. Now, the profile of a potential client, small to medium-sized Main Street America. Now, I just want to stop here just for a second because I get this all the time from a lot of agents out there that try to go to these large franchise. And I don't have a problem with agents going to large companies. All I'm saying is, through my experience, is the agents that do well in this business, and I'm talking about agents that will do $150,000 to $200,000 with our product this year alone, are the ones that will do the onesies and twosies, the mom and pop shops, the owner-operated proprietary. Those are the ones that they can knock out 2 to 3 of these deals a week, make a tremendous amount of money, and only work maybe 3 days a week. And I'm not exaggerating. This is something that actually happens on a day-to-day basis. Those agents are smart. They work the small, medium-sized Main Street American. Unfortunately, 2 years ago, I had an agent who claimed he was going to get us in every Home Depot across the country. His brother was vice president of finance. We spent 6 months working on that deal, and it just became improbable because of the massive size of Home Depot and the hierarchy and the paperwork that it would have taken just to be able to get a couple stores in there. Unfortunately, he wasted 6 months of his life trying to get that deal, thinking, you know, dollar signs in his eyes that he was going to be able to pull this deal off. But unfortunately, at the end of the day, it was something that he ran out of money, got very frustrated because his brother wasn't able to help push the deal through. The point I'm trying to make is that you can make an awful lot of money. You can be, you can be king of your, of your business by just writing those, those small repair shops, the dental offices, the veterinarian offices, the funeral homes, and be able to make a tremendous amount of money. I know everybody tries to think outside the box, but that's where the money is. It's not in the dealerships that have 6 to 8 locations, because typically there's 7 or 8 layers of management that you have to go through, and you may waste months when you can start closing 2 to 3 deals a week just working on Main Street America, those examples that I had just mentioned. The owner-operated proprietor, that's who buys our program. Those are the small businesses that need our help. Those big dealerships, not that we can't help them, but they don't need our help. They're worth millions of dollars. These mom and pop transmission shops and tire stores, they're the ones that need our help. That is what our program can do for them, is an instant change in the way they market. It's a completely 360-degree change in the way they're actually operating their business. And we're able to help those merchants today versus you calling on a major auto conglomerate that may have 6, 8, 10 locations, and it's great if you could sell 6 or 8, 10 of them. But just think, if you were to concentrate just on 1 or 2 shops, how much more money you'll have in your pocket, and how much free time you'll be able to spend with your family and friends. Businesses that are average ticket of $100 or more, and emergency services, that's probably our strongest area when we talk about the emergency services, where heating and air conditioning, transmission shops, veterinarians, funeral homes, is the area that we do sell an awful lot of our product to. Now let's just do a little mechanics here. Once a customer has to present a check for 25% of the down payment and then spread those payments out over 3, 6, or 12 months. We talked about those warranty fees. Now, the reason why we don't call them interest is because it's a flat rate. It doesn't compound. Typically, with the standard plan, if you're borrowing $1,000 over 12 months, that's 15%. So you're paying back $1,150. It's not like interest, where if you were to add 15% interest on a monthly basis compounded, you're paying back $1,390 something. You're paying back $1,150. So the warranty fee is not interest. It's a percentage of the transaction. So $150 is what you're going to pay back. So it's very economical. Put your best clients in our program to free up that space on their credit card, because it doesn't get reported to the credit bureau. Only if you fail to make payments, then that's when then it is notified. But so this is going to be a win-win for the consumer also. Merchant receives the approval for the transaction. Merchant will receive the full amount, 100% of their within 72 hours of the batch out, and single check conversion is up to $36,000. For those that aren't aware of what the single check conversion is, the single check conversion is if they write a check for $5, $50, $5,000, $25,000, whatever a check they write. This does not include the loan program. This is just specifically for if they want to write a check. If you ever gone into a store where it says we don't take customers' checks, no personal checks, no business checks, those people have gotten burned. With our program, this comes with it on the Marquee plan. That $36,000 you can write a check. So if you own a dealership and someone comes in and wants to buy a truck for $36,000, we're going to guarantee that payment. It's a little bit different. We go in and freeze the money so the customer can't go around during that batch out period and take the money out of their account. The money is frozen. The money will be in the checking account of the merchant, typically within a day or so. So they're going to receive that full amount of money. You don't ever have to worry about bounce checks. They can start taking checks as another form of payment again, and that's how the single check conversion works. Now, we do have some restricted businesses: hospitality, travel and hospitality. Now, this is on the Marquee plan. No travel and hospitality, no jewelry stores, no luggage, no audiovisual, no electronics, no pawn shops, no coin dealers. We'll come back to used car dealers, no bail bondsmen, bankruptcy attorneys, or any type of credit restoration or consulting. If we can't, it's the old saying, if I know what it is, I can tell what you're telling me the business is. But if it's just a consulting business, we may not be able to get the bank to approve them if we don't know exactly what they're doing. Now, I want to circle back to used cars because along with new car sales, we can do used cars for down payment assistance only. If a car lot has a service bay where they do repair, we can do 100% of that. Warranties, we can do 100% of that. But on the purchase of the car, we can only do up to 25%, whether it's new or used cars. So that's where the restriction comes in, and that's only on the Marquee plan. The standard plan, we cannot do any car sales whatsoever, although we can do car repair. Now, the bottom line is what we're selling leases. So if you've not been aware, basically what we're selling is the lease of this program. Typically for the software, the equipment, the laser scanner, the imager, and all the other things that go into the guarantee, we are selling either a 2, 3, or 4-year lease. So you can purchase it outright, if you'd want to consult your manager how that works, or you can call the home office. You can purchase the program outright. Or what the bank has done is put together a friendly, affordable lease, and that friendly, affordable lease can be spread out over 2, 3, or 4 year. Now, we do have something in Platinum One called Control Your Own Paycheck. I don't want to forget about the Secure Cash people because there's quite a few of them on there. So if the Secure Cash or Platinum One, so we have something called Control Your Own Paycheck. We basically, on a 4-year lease, 90% of all our purchases or our sales are done through a 4-year lease, and typically almost 95% of what we sell is sold at $195 per month. If we could sell it higher, we could, but the bank has capped us at $195. So for those that are selling the program, you can sell it anywhere from $125 to $195. But let me tell you, the program does have a lot of value, so selling this at $195, do not be afraid. If you have to sell it for $172, $167, $147, $135, believe me, that is why we call it Control Your Own Paycheck. The more you sell it for, the more you're going to make. And again, most of our top agents are selling it at the $195. We don't have a problem with selling it at the $195 because 90% of the sales that go out the door here are sold at the $195 level. For those that won't qualify, that can't qualify for a lease or don't have the money to purchase it, we can also do a credit card, cash advance credit card, lockbox, or weekly ACH. That basically means we can borrow against their credit card processing. As long as they're doing at least $5,000 a month over a 3-month period, we can borrow, give them the money, operating capital to get the program and then pay that off over a certain amount of time. So again, for those merchants who don't qualify, we have the cash purchase, which we can accept all major credit cards and we can do withdrawals. We can borrow against their credit card processing. Again, the merchant must process a minimum of $5,000 a month to qualify. Credit card processing for all our programs, or if you want to sell just the credit card processing, is available for additional commission, but it is not required. And let me repeat that because I got like 5 emails this week asking if, when selling the Platinum One program, if you have to sell the merchant services along with the loan program, because there are some plans out there with other competition that they won't allow you to sell the loan program unless you sell the credit card processing. And the answer is no, you do not have to sell any credit card processing. It's a very competitive market out there. A lot of these wannabe programs out there, which really are not loan programs, it's just an incentive to get these people to switch their credit card processing. We are not in the credit card processing business, although we do have that available to us. And again, an agent can make a lot of money if you're thinking about the long-term aspects. The residual end of it, you're going to get 4 streams of income. The Platinum One program will pay you a generous commission up front and also pay you residuals on every loan that's paid out. If you sell it with the credit card processing, there is a bonus up front, and then there's a larger residual. So if you sell all 4, you have 4 streams of income, and that, from the agents that do sell that, the professional agents that do work for Platinum One, believe me, you would be very envious of what their W-2s look like. So credit card processing is available for additional commission, but it is not required. All funds are guaranteed. No more bounce checks. Basically, this is any applications can be faxed to 888-702-7972 or emailed to james@platinumonellc.com. My contact number is 800 number, 800-330-7221, or you can also send any questions to admin@platinumonellc.com. Okay, before we go and do a very short presentation on the standard plan, which I will close out of that one, I want to just mention that, again, next week, Thursday, we'll be doing paperwork training, and the paperwork training is basically it goes over really what the concierge application. What we did is we developed just a single 2-page application, very simple. It'll really help you because you don't have to worry about penmanship. You don't have to worry about getting things spelled right, because we'll go ahead and pre-populate those particular applications for you, and then you'll be able to get in and out of your merchants, and we'll basically take over the rest once the contract is signed. And we'll go through that next Thursday, October 30th. Now, the standard plan, all the same requirements that we went through on the marquee plan. The standard plan is very similar. The standard plan has a it does have an income requirement. I just basically want to spell it out. The marquee plan, there's no income requirement because we're basically just taking the routing number and checking account number, making a determination of what the information we can find on that. So the reason why we have the higher warranty fees, that 9.95 to 30.95, is because we aren't asking for an income requirement. On the standard plan, there's an income requirement. That means you have to be able to prove your income by either a paycheck stub or a bank statement. So what happens is it's a less riskier loan, because now we have a vision of what that income requirement looks like. So now that drops the rates typically in half. The highest we have on the marquee plan, as I mentioned, is 30.95. The highest warranty fee we have on the standard plan is 15% even. So there is a huge difference. And again, that's lower than most credit card rates. It allows you to be able to make the purchase maybe at a lower rate than your credit card, freeing up that space on your credit card. So the standard plan does have a lot of value to it. The other feature that the standard plan has, besides lower warranty fees, is that you do have the ability to go online and get pre-qualified. This is great because you can qualify from the privacy of your own home. You can be at home and be able to answer the questions, put your routing number, account number, and driver's license number in, and get pre-qualified for that transmission or for the purchase of that car. Print off the coupon, walk into that merchant and be able to make the transaction, pay for those set of tires, the transmission, the heating and cooling. You can do that right online. It's a great feature. A lot of merchants love the fact that you have an online portal that you can put on your website or email to a potential client. They can go ahead and get approved. Or in the case of many attorneys, you can just basically have the client go into another office, apply online, get approved, and take that money towards a down payment, or take that money towards paying off an old invoice, or if someone owed you money for many months, be able to bring that person back in by getting them pre-qualified, and the transaction happens very quickly. So that is available just on the standard plan. It's you can put it on a portal, you can send it to an email, but you can qualify, walk into the store and take care of that transaction. So this will allow merchants to extend credit up to 12 months without a credit check, providing the customer has good check writing history and proof of income. That's the big difference between the Marquis and the standard. You must have proof of income. Merchants who have existing financing programs. So if you're a dentist, or if you're an attorney who, or a veterinarian or funeral home who has existing credit-based programs, you may want to look at the standard plan, because many of those GEs, Wells Fargo's, Peachtree's, car care credits, car credit, they all have proof of income needed. So those offices that are familiar with those credit-based programs, this will fit right in, and it's a true no credit check, because on this program there's no Social Security number asked for. So it's basically going off their checking account and their proof of income, allowing those rates to fall below, in many cases, below 15%. Merchants will receive a link which can be used for the pre-approval, which I talked about. Merchant can post that directly to their website, or by visiting the customer's email, attaching it to the email, and they can get pre-approval, walk in the door, get this product or service, and then walk out. So again, that's spread through word of mouth. It's a great way for merchants to expand their business. Now, I talked about those warranty fees on the Marquis plan of being 9.95 to 30.95. Take a look at the warranty fees on the standard plan. 3 and 6 months is 9%, 9 months is 12%, and 12 months is 15%. That's the total amount of warranty fee. Again, it's not interest. That just gets added as a one-time flat fee. So again, on $1,000, the customer is going to pay back about $1,150 for that warranty fee. It's not interest. It doesn't compound. Now, the breakdown of the down payments for 3 and 6 months, now remember, on the Marquis plan, you have to put down 25% across the board. On the standard plan, down payments, 3 and 6 months is 15%, 9 months is 20%, and 12 months is 25%. So there's a big difference there also. Now, when you're the other feature that the standard plan has, that the Marquis plan, you can go weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, meaning that the customer can pay that back like on a weekly paycheck, bi-weekly paycheck, or they can pay off once a month. Now, please note, if the customer chooses or wants to choose the monthly, they would have to. The customer would not get paid up front. So you want to explain to your merchants that on the standard plan, that if they are going to on the standard plan, if they are going to accept payments from a client, they have to do it weekly or bi-weekly to get advanced. And then we talk about the same with the single check conversion on the standard plan as is in the Marquee plan. Now we do have some things that are included in the standard plan. We can do jewelry stores, we can do home-based businesses. Now remember, the Marquee plan, we can't do business to business. We can, on the standard plan you can, but you can also do home-based businesses. We just did an embroidery company where someone was doing shirts, t-shirts, and sweaters in their basement, and that was a home-based business, clothing, audio stars. So again, we can do home-based businesses. Now remember, when it says restrictions, we're looking for a separate business license with a separate business checking account number. It has to be a separate business. We can't just work out of Jane Jones' checking account because she's doing some sort of home restoration or things like that out of her basement. We do need a separate business, separate corporate veil, so to speak. But we do have those same exclusions here as we did in some cases. No bankruptcy attorneys, no pawn shops, no credit repair agencies, no coin dealers, and remember this, on the standard plan we do not do any auto sales, no down payment assistance and no auto sales, both new and used. We do, however, do car repair, but we don't do any auto sales on the standard plan. That is strictly reserved for the Marquee plan. So that's basically the two programs. So in a quick nutshell, the Platinum Marquee plan is higher warranty fees, but again, you're just putting the routing number and a check account number into the system, and you're going to get an answer back. The standard plan, you do need income, basically in the form of a paycheck stub or bank statement, and the warranty fees are less, but you can apply online, walk into the store off of the company website, or be able to go directly to the go directly to the merchant, and maybe they have the ability in the form of being able to apply online and be able to get that approval for the same day service. It typically takes anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes to get pre-approved. So that is basically the Marquee and standard plan for on the Platinum One program. Now what I would like to do is be able to, if anybody has any questions, on the corner of the GoToMeeting website there is a little hand that you can raise if you have any questions regarding the items that we have gone over today. So if you raise your hand, unfortunately because of the amount of people that we have on today, I cannot unmute the phones because the feedback will be incredible. So if you do have a question regarding product, regarding marketing, regarding anything that we've talked about today, please let me know by raising your hand, and I can give you a call, or I can call on you. All right, I'm going to call. Let's see if he's available. Brian, can you hear me? Hello, Brian. Brian, can you hear me? You do have to have a mic, so if you don't have a mic.
Right now?
Oh, I can hear you now.
Yeah.
Hi, Brian.
Yeah, I got it. Hey, how are you? Yeah, the question I had was on that that Platinum or the Marquee plan that you're doing for dealers. If they wanted to also include their service department, we just have to write two separate. We have to write the service department on standard and the dealership on the Marquee, or the Marquee will handle both.
Okay, great question. When writing a dealership, you can do it two ways. You can do it like you said. You could really write both plans if you really wanted to do that. But when you're doing, let's say you have a sales department, parts department, and a service department, we could go in and write the sales department at one warranty fee and then the service department at a lower rate, because remember, the car sales is going to have the highest fees. That'll be that 30.9% there, and then the service department will be down at the 26%. You could do that, or if you, like you suggested, you could write both plans. You could write one plan on the Marquee plan for the sales portion of it, and you could take advantage of the lower warranty fees on the standard plan. That is an option you could do. You just have to write. There would be just one additional form, and we'll go through that next week on the paperwork training. Okay. So good question. Anything else, Brian?
No, that's it.
Okay, Brian, thank you. Okay, I'm going to go to Bonnie. Bonnie, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you, James. I just wanted to ask you about the bank form. So that is something now that's available if we do have a customer on location and they didn't have the check.
Correct.
Where do we find the bank form and how do we obtain it, please?
Okay, I can email you what that bank form looks like. Basically what it is it's only available on the standard plan. Because, as you're aware, not everybody's going to be walking around with a check. They're not going to be able to in many cases, there are a lot of people that just, when they open up a checking account or a debit account, they simply just don't have a check. Now, keep in mind that all debit cards are tied to a checking account. So with the bank form, it will be a form that will be attached to the merchant portal that we provide the merchant. When they sign up for the program, they'll get a portal, and the portal will have a fee calculator. They'll have different forms that they're able to access. One of the forms is called a bank form. So the preferred method would be a check, because you can just put the client through the system very quickly. The bank form, how it works is they have to fill it out: name, address, phone number, driver's license number, routing number, and account number. That gets faxed in, and someone from the processing department will call their bank and say, we have John Jones, his driver's license number is XXX, his routing number is XXX, and his account number is this. Is this John Jones? The bank confirms it. Then we're able to process the loan. It does take a little bit longer. Typically, with a check, it takes anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes to get approval. With the bank form, it does take a little bit longer. Can take from upwards of 5 minutes, because someone actually has to verify that that person is who they say they are, and be able to prove how that bank form works. So that's only on the standard plan. The Marquee plan, you have to have a check. On the standard plan, you can have the bank form, and I will email you after the presentation just kind of what that bank form looks like. There is really nothing much to it. The bank form basically just has the information and the logo of the merchant on the top.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? George, can you hear me?
Yes.
George, you have a question?
Are the leases cancelable or non-cancelable?
These are non-cancelable leases. Typically how it works is the lease is, and again, what we are familiar with, or the amount of, we typically sell a 48-month lease at $195 per month is typically what we see that comes across. Again, these are true leases, meaning they're 100% tax deductible. They are at any point in time during the lease, the merchant can pay that lease off. Now, there's no additional penalty for canceling early or no additional interest. They can just pay off the remainder of the lease. And typically, if you're taking average of the several thousand clients that we have leased these programs for over the last 4 years, typically on average between the 18th and the 21st month of the lease, that is typically triggers the merchant to pay that lease off. Why is that? Typically, it's because they've taken advantage of the tax relief that they've got, and typically they're in a position that they now can afford to pay that lease off because now they have an additional $30,000 to $50,000. Because keep in mind that if we're providing somebody, between $30,000 and $50,000 of additional income for something that's less than $2,400 a year, I think that's a pretty good deal for them, specifically or especially when that's money that they would never have seen without our program. Let's see, can I talk to, is it Jesus?
Yes, sir.
Hi, how are you?
I'm just fine, sir. In regards to the used cars, the assistance down payment, are we able to do the buy here, pay here dealerships?
We are able to do the buy here, pay here. And I talked to an agent this morning, and specifically, you got to kind of take a look at our market because we're only able to do up to 25% of the value of the car. And you can't really fool the system because when you call in or put the program in, they're going to ask you what the value of the car is. So typically, if it's a $5,000 car, we'll be able to provide up to $1,250 worth of down payment assistance. So you're going to want to have another, that buy here, pay here lot. If they don't have any existing finance set up, it may not help them. So a lot of these buy here, pay here lots on the lower end of the scale, we may not be able to help. But typically, those car dealer lots that go from like $2,500 up to about $15,000, we see a lot of value in the program because they're able to generate an extra $1,500 to $2,000 per sale. You're doing 20 sales in a given month. That's really going to help you out quite a bit. So when we're doing the buy here, pay here, you may not want to go on the very low end. I mean, we've seen buy here, pay here car lots out there that have $500 cars on their lot, and unfortunately, we're not going to be able to help those individuals because the dollar amount is too small. But we may be able to help those that go between $2,500 to $3,000 at the low end up to the $15,000. We can really see a lot of value for those particular car lots, and we do sell an awful lot to those particular car lots. Let's go to Dean. Dean, can you hear me? Dean, can you hear me? Okay, sorry, Dean. Let's go back to Brian. Brian, how can I help you? Brian, can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, now, I heard you say that 100% of the lease payments is a tax write-off, and that's in conjunction with the machine itself, because the machine itself is a tax write-off as well, isn't it?
It's only, that'd be considered a double dip. You couldn't do a depreciation write-off and a lease write-off because the lease amount is the total amount. So, and that's always a good question, and kind of a closing question that I always ask is that you want to ask the merchant if they're if they paid taxes last year, because if they did pay taxes last year, that $2,300 is going to come right off the bottom line. They're not, that's going to be $2,300 that they have to write that year less to the government, and that's a pretty substantial savings considering the value that you get back from the program. Now, if you purchase the equipment, if you just write a check and you don't want to lease, then you'd get the depreciation write-off with that also.
I'll take a small product.
All right, looks like we caught Brian having some lunch there. All right, that'll about do it for today. Keep in mind next week, Thursday, October 30th, 2014, we're going to be talking about paperwork, and we know how agents love paperwork, but it is the necessary evil because that's how we get paid. We'll be talking about it. We'll cruise through. It'll be a short. Typically, those run about 40 minutes. We ran a little bit longer today with the questions. We had a lot of great questions. So next week, Thursday, we'll be talking about paperwork, and again, it's the same time, 3 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Central. So on behalf of all the good people here at Platinum One, I appreciate you joining me this afternoon. Thanks for another great crowd, enthusiastic crowd with a lot of questions. I If you have any additional questions, you can either call me on the 800 number, or you can email me at james@platinum1llc.com. So thanks for joining me this afternoon, and have a great week. Talk to you soon.